Hi everyone. Let's talk about another INFJ strength, which is being an excellent listener. And it kind of got me thinking about, am I an excellent listener, or am I somebody that just listens to respond? Because, I've heard lots of people say that, if you're an excellent listener, you're not listening to just respond, you're listening to actually accept what the person is saying or collect what the person is saying. So it got me thinking about, am I a good listener? Am I a shoulder to cry on? Can someone come to me and share their heart and share their troubles, and I actually listen to what they have to say? I gotta pause for a second. Still trying to figure out this indoor filming because I had a really good place outside, as you guys know if you've watched me before, and it's too cold out for me, so we're in the house and I'm trying to figure out how to set up my camera for this, and that didn't work. So now I'm just holding it like an amateur, which is what I am, so that's okay. Anyway, one of my subscribers commented on my strengths video that excellent listeners are an endangered species. And that, of course, got me thinking, because are we an endangered species? Is someone that can listen to what you have to say and listen to you share your heart and actually, without putting their own self into it, can they actually hear what you have to say? And I think that's true. I think that we are an endangered species, to be able to actually be a shoulder to cry on for somebody, I think is a lost art. And I think the reasons for that is everyone is too busy. Like I've mentioned before, I feel like right now busyness is next to godliness for a lot of people. We feel like if we're not terribly busy and packing everything into every day all the time, that we aren't arriving, that we aren't productive and we're not good humans. And we're also distracted by media. We can be entertained by our phones, by our televisions, radio, lots and lots of media, and we're so distracted by that because we're not used to just letting our minds sit and actually sitting with a person. And I think we're also very isolated by these things, having constant media in our face and being able to be entertained anytime makes us very isolated. And I think we're also afraid, to show our true selves, to allow someone else to open up to us, because what is it going to do? Here's Leo again. What is it going to do to us? And, what will this person expect of me if I listen to them one time? I got my notes. And I used to think, if you saw the thumbnail, I'll tell you what that is about. I used to think that I had a sign on my forehead that said, please overshare with me. Because I would find, in my professional life as a barber, I would find that people would tell me the most personal things, by just me asking a simple question. And, people that I knew, or acquaintances or good friends of mine, would just share just these very deep personal things. And I always was like, oh my goodness, why are you telling me this? And so I always felt like there must be a sign on my forehead that says, please overshare with me, because so many people loved to do it. And, I have learned to love that. I really appreciate when someone is open and honest and shares what's going on with them or things that have happened to them in the past. And, I was trying to think about why that would be. Why would I be a person that would be easy to share with? And, I've kind of thought, like, looking at my notes again, I am an open person. I'm not very private. I will share things with, almost strangers about my life. Not deep personal things, but, I don't really keep I don't really keep to myself too much in that, you know, I will talk to just about anybody. And part of that, my job has taught me how to do that because I do have to interact with many people in a day. And I also think, and I've seen videos and I've read things about, you know, that we have just this look on our face and we have this thing about our eyes where we can just see into a person's soul. And I think that, you know, people that would share with you are able to sense that you are going to listen, that you can see what's going on with them, and that you actually want to hear it. And a lot of times, you know, people that would share these things are not necessarily looking for advice. They're really just looking for a person that will listen, that will not judge them, that isn't going to lecture them for what they have to say. And, you know, for a long time, I used to wonder why whenever I would have a conversation with certain people that they would cry. A very, very good friend of mine, when I first started hanging out with her, you know, we would get together for something casual and she would just start telling me stories about her life and she would just start crying. And then I thought, oh my gosh, this girl is never going to want to be with me because every time she comes over to my house for a cup of coffee, she cries. And I have noticed in my life that there are a few people for me that are like this. And I think it's just because you have a connection with them. You know, they are the kind of person that they can see into your soul. They can see that you're struggling. And for somehow they're able to take your walls down. And what's really going on can come to the surface. And I feel like as a person, you know, that is an excellent listener and that desires to help people, we need to be that for people. We need to be a person that can just sit and listen and, you know, hear what they're having to say and hear the struggles without putting in our own advice and our own, you know, I think this is what you should do in this situation. And sometimes they are looking for that, but sometimes they just want to tell the story without you having an inflammatory response with, you know, and they also want to know that they are still lovable, even though, you know, they went through that thing. And after that conversation, you know, I had to do this when I was on a prayer team. You know, after a conversation where somebody tells you something that's very difficult or a struggle they went through, you know, sometimes if you're a person that has empathy, sometimes you can feel those hurts for them and then you will take them with you. And when I used to be on a prayer team and pray for people, on my way home, I would have to remove any of the attachments that those things may have attached to me. You know, if the thing they described or the feelings that they were having were following me around, I would have to, you know, ask God to just remove them so that they didn't then attach to me. And I think we need to practice being excellent listeners. There are so many hurting people, and, you know, we are hurting people too, and we need it. But I think we need to practice being excellent listeners. Just listen to what they're saying. Try not to pass judgment. Don't insert advice immediately, and just, you know, share somebody's sorrows for a little while. And I think in the end, you'll be blessed as well. Thanks for listening.